Hello friends, welcome you all to the current event session for UPSC Prelims 2020-21. Today we are going to discuss few important news from prelims point of view. While discussing these news, I will be giving you or I will be making you aware what point you should remember for the examination. So first news is about Malayan giant squirrel, right? So what the news says, listen very carefully. A first of its kind study by the Zoological Survey of India. Now a homework for you. Make a detailed research about what is Zoological Survey of India. It is available in India Yearbook. Just have 5 to 7 important points about Zoological Survey of India. So first of its kind study by the Zoological Survey of India under Ministry of Environment has projected that the number of Malayan giant squirrel, this name is important. You could definitely get a question in environment on Malayan giant squirrel. Its name is Ratufa bicolor, could decline by 90% in India by 2050. So this could be definitely a potential question about Ratufa bicolor. Now what it says, see, the Malayan giant squirrel, one of the world's largest squirrel species that has dark upper body, pale underparts and a long bushy tail. Here, remember, this species is listed as near threatened. This is important point, just underline this point. This species has been declared or underlined as a near threatened on IUCN's 2016 list. What is IUCN? It stands for International Union for Conservation of Nature, and it is protected under India's Wildlife Protection Act. It is near threatened, International Union for Conservation of Nature, and it has been protected under Wildlife Protection Act of India. Here, remember, it is currently found in, now the names of the states are important. You could get a question in prelims. Mostly the question in environment are not very specific. They are random vague question. You have to eliminate points by using your logic. So remember, this Malayan giant squirrel is found in parts of West Bengal, Sikkim, Assam, Arunachal Pradesh, Meghalaya and Nagaland. So basically these are northeastern states. It is also distributed through certain countries like southern China, Thailand, Laos, Vietnam, Burma, the Malayan Peninsula, Sumatra and Java. So remember, this is a particular region where this Malayan giant squirrel has been concentrated. Here remember, it is found mostly in evergreen and semi-evergreen forest. So the kind of forest is important. Evergreen and semi-evergreen forest from plains to hills at an elevation of 50 meter to 1500 meters above sea level. Some important information about squirrel. India is a home to 3 giant squirrel species. One is Malayan giant squirrel. The 2 remaining are Indian giant squirrel and grizzled giant squirrel. Remember the names of these 3. Malayan giant squirrel, Indian giant squirrel and third one is grizzled giant squirrel. These are found in peninsular India. Here remember, unlike other nocturnal flying squirrel, giant squirrel are diurnal but arboreal. What is meaning of arboreal? Tree dwelling, which live on the tree, and herbivorous like the flying squirrel. It means they feed on herbs. They are not carnivorous, they are not omnivorous, they are herbivorous. Then next important news that you can use in your questions on society, the questions on inclusive growth and development. The news is very important. India's first home for transgender children. To remove their all kinds of fears and all kinds of discomfort, India is going to construct its own separate home for transgender children. It will be in Bengaluru. Here, just listen to it very carefully. India's first home for transgender children in need of care and protection will soon be established in Bengaluru. 2 government-run homes for transgender children will be established in Bengaluru urban town. Here, which is the responsible ministry? This could be a question for prelims. The Ministry of Women and Child Development gave its nod for the project last work. Here remember, it is essential that a home is established for transgender children as they face a lot of stigma and abuse. Abuse is more important. Establishing a separate home and giving them attention and care at a young age will help address some of their concern as a citizen of India, as a respectable, dignified human being. Then next important news is from science and technology. It is about Arecibo telescope. Arecibo telescope has collapsed recently. That's why this Arecibo telescope is in news. Let's go for this information. Puerto Rico. Now I gave you a homework. Just go on map and search where this Puerto Rico is. Puerto Rico's massive Arecibo telescope, famous for its stellar contribution to astronomy, collapsed, leaving many young shocked. Here remember, it is the second largest, remember it is the second largest single dish radio telescope in the world. Now a homework for you, which is the largest single dish radio telescope in the world. Arecibo was first built in 1963. It is under the ownership of United States National Science Foundation. Here remember, being the most powerful radar, scientists employed Arecibo to observe planets, then asteroids. Asteroids are found between Mars and Jupiter, and the ionosphere, making several discoveries over the decade, including finding prebiotic molecule in distant galaxies, the first exoplanet, and the first millisecond pulsar. This particular entire graph is very important. This page, this slide is very important. This contains all important points that could be asked for prelims. All these are the important discoveries by Arecibo telescope. So pause the video, read all these things again. Then in 1967, Arecibo was able to discover that planet Mercury rotates in 59 days and not 88 days as it was thought earlier. Then again in 1993, two scientists, Russell Hulse and Joseph Taylor, were awarded the Nobel Prize in Physics for their work on the observatory in monitoring a binary pulsar. Remember, binary pulsar, providing strict test of Einstein's theory of general relativity, and first evidence for existence of gravitational waves was given by these two scientists, for which they got Nobel Prize. Then next important news is about Deputy Chief of Strategy post. A simple post is there. Just remember, for internal security. A major restructure has been held at the Army headquarters, has finally been approved by the government. What is that change? Here remember, in an order issued on 2nd December, the government has given its nod to create position of a third Deputy Chief of Army, who will act as a single point advice person to Vice Chief of Army on operational issues. That is important. He will be working on operational issues. And another important point about this post is the new Deputy Chief Strategy will head operation, intelligence, perspective, and information warfare. Clear? Then next important news is about 2020 SO. What this news is, let's go into it. You could get a question. See, what is this? NASA has confirmed that the near Earth object called 2020 SO is the rocket booster that helped lift space agency's Surveyor spacecraft towards the moon in 1966. Now, they thought it is a near Earth object, but it is actually a booster of a rocket which was being propelled in the year 1996. Here, some important historical background. The Surveyor 2 spacecraft was supposed to make a soft landing on the moon's surface in September 1966, during which time one of the three thrusters failed to ignite, as a result of which spacecraft started spinning and crashed on the surface. Surveyor 2. Then the aim of the mission was to recognize the lunar surface ahead of Apollo mission that led to its first lunar landing in 1969. It means Surveyor 2 was launched in 1966 and Apollo came in 1969. While the spacecraft crashed into the moon's surface, the rocket booster disappeared into the unknown orbit around the sun, which can be seen right now as a near Earth object, which has been given a name of 2020 SO. Then next important news is about Rohingya refugees and Bangladesh and the question of refugees, which is important part of your UPSC mains answer writing. It is about Bhashan Char Island. You can see it is Bhashan Char Island, Chittagong, Cox's Bazar. It is Myanmar. It's Rakhine state, from where the Rohingya Muslims have been expelled by persecution through the Myanmar. So what the news is here, listen very carefully. The Bhashan Char Island is a remote, uninhabited island of Bangladesh located in the Bay of Bengal. It is owned by Bangladesh. It is also known as Charpia. Alternative name is important. It is also known as Charpia. Here remember, around thousands of Rohingya from Cox's Bazar's refugee camp are being shifted to the newly developed facility in the island. About the island, some important fact and figures. The island, which spans for an area of 40 square kilometers, is believed to have formed only in 2006 by Ganga River deposits Himalayan silt. Here, the Bangladesh government is relocating the Rohingya refugees to this island, which is located 60 kilometers from the mainland. And a question or a doubt has been raised by many humanitarian agencies and people that how you can go for this uninhabited island for completely refugee people. It is a kind of what we can say a kind of question mark on humanity. Then next important news about India, Pakistan and Indo-China relationship. It is about Azad Pattan hydropower project. It is being built in the Pak occupied Kashmir. Why this is in news? Here remember, the Azad Pattan project is a hydropower project that is to be constructed in Pakistan occupied Kashmir, Pak occupied Kashmir. What is Pak occupied Kashmir? Pak occupied Kashmir is a part of India which is illegally and forcibly occupied by Pakistan in war in post-independent India. Here they are going to build a Azad Pattan hydroelectric power project on Jhelum River having an installed capacity of 700 megawatt. Here, this particular project is a 1.35 billion US dollar project that is to be jointly undertaken by China and Pakistan as a part of China-Pakistan Economic Corridor. China-Pakistan Economic Corridor is an overambitious project of China to link Gwadar port of Pakistan with Xinjiang province of India, with Xinjiang province of China to tackle or to give a kind of checkmate condition to India through its over connectedness with the Pakistan. Here remember, CPEC is a flagship project of Chinese government that connects Gwadar port of Pakistan and Xinjiang of China. About Azad Pattan hydroelectric project, what it says, it is one of the 5 hydropower schemes that will be built on Jhelum River. The other 4 are, their names are important. You could get a question on these 4 names. The other 4 are Kohla, Mahal Karot, Chakoti Hattian. These are the 4. Of these, Kohla, Azad Pattan and Karot are to be developed under CPEC network. Azad Pattan is to be commissioned by 2024. It is a run of the river scheme. Remember the last line, it is a run of the river scheme. Then, what is V-shaped recovery curve? Here we are going to study all these kinds of recovery curve. Here, what is V-shaped recovery curve? Here remember, these are the names of various economies and their recovery. What is V-shaped recovery curve? A V-shaped recovery is a type of economic recession and recovery that resembles the shape of alphabet V. Here, a V-shaped recovery involves or reflects a sharp revival of economy to the previous peak after sharp decline. This line is important. It reflects a sharp recovery of economy to previous peak after sharp decline. So, sharp recovery, sharp decline, when these two things are there, it is a V-shaped recovery curve. Here, remember, this particular recovery involves a deep recession in economy followed by sharp rise back. Such recoveries are resultant of an economic stimulus offered by government and easy money policy, which is called as cheap monetary policy or expansionary monetary policy pursued by the central bank. Here the recovery in V-shaped curve witness improved production level, strong consumer demands in the economy. V-shaped recovery is said to be one of the best case scenario since an economic depression is immediately followed by quick recovery in major parameters of macroeconomic indicators and macroeconomic parameters. The next is about Indo-US Memorandum of Understanding on Intellectual Property Cooperation, which we have seen 2 days back. We are going to discuss this again in somewhat detail. India and United States recently signed a Memorandum of Understanding on Intellectual Property Cooperation. Now what it says, see, the agreement was signed between the Department of Promotion of Industry and Internal Trade from the side of India and United States Patent and Trademark Office. Here remember, the agreement will increase the intellectual property cooperation between India and United States of America. The agreement was signed after 10 months, the Union Cabinet approved to enter into MOU. Next important news is about India and West, that is India and Oman. Here, Oman-India Friendship Association has been declared by Oman recently. Oman recently announced to establish Friendship Association with India. Why? It is important for us. This will be the first of such initiative in West Asia from the side of India as well as from other countries. It was announced during a bilateral discussion held between foreign ministers of the countries, both the countries. During the bilateral discussion, the countries reviewed their economic cooperation, consular issues, capacity building, and training program for furthering their cooperation amongst each other. What is significance of Oman for India? Oman is an ideal place for international business as it has industrial hub established all along its 1700 meters of sea coast on the Indian Ocean. That's why it is important. Secondly, the country holds 4 industrial free zones and 4 seaports facing the Indian Ocean. The industrial free zones of Oman offer 30 years of corporate tax exemption, no restriction on repatriation of profit, no income tax, usufruct agreement, 50 years of renewability, currency exchange freedom, and stable currency rates. You can go for it is a kind of tax haven. That's why it is very, very important. Then next is about India multilateral relations. What are CLMV countries? Recently, a sixth conclave was concluded between India and the CLMV countries. CLMV stands for Cambodia, Laos, Myanmar, and Vietnam, the most important countries of Southeast Asia. The sixth India CLMV Business Conclave 2020 was recently held. During the conclave, India invited CLMV countries to join International Solar Alliance, which was initiated by India under the able leadership of Honorable Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji, and the Resilient Supply Chain Initiative. These two initiatives are important that you should go through. The conclave was held under the theme is important, building bridges for constructive development yesterday. This was the theme. This is important for every leading economies in order to prevent vaccine nationalism, so that vaccine should be available to all the world equally for all the humanity. What are these CLMV countries? CLMV countries are Cambodia, Laos, Myanmar, and Vietnam. CLMV countries have a unique position in Southeast Asian region. The countries act as a gateway for the market access to European Union and China, and also other markets due to various trade agreements. So thank you very much. Keep watching the news, keep sharing news. We'll be coming with the Hindu editorials analysis soon. Also, we'll be discussing 5 important MCQs every day from preliminary point of view. So thank you very much. Have a good day. Thank you.